A lot of people in this world feel stuck. They don't really know what their life is all about, what it's meant to be about. The issue we're facing is that we're usually not taught how to really use our minds in such a way that we can figure out clearly and definitely what our purpose is for this existence. We have to grasp that we ourselves decide what the purpose of our lives will be. We hold that power within our own heart, within our own mind. So through this video, I want to share with you some ideas that might help you to think about your purpose in life and hopefully help you execute those ideas more effectively and overthrow and overcome and outgrow those old conditionings that were holding you back all along. Alright, welcome back. Today I wanted to talk to you about the importance of a main purpose, of having a definite purpose for your life and your existence, because I realize more and more as I analyze my own world and the worlds of other people that if we do not have a clearly defined purpose, then odds are that all of the jazz that goes on in the world is going to distract you and it's going to cause you not to feel the true fulfillment within yourself that you're seeking, that joy, that love, that passion for life that we're all seeking. And if it's missing, we feel horrible. We feel out of whack with our reality, with our circumstances. So how do we figure this one out? Because it's a huge question. Answering why you exist right now, what your purpose is while you're on this planet until the day that you move on, well, that's a question not many people can answer clearly. Yet it's so important that it's strange that we do not really get taught about this when we're born. More often than not, our parents also don't really talk to us about this. They would probably say stuff like, find an education that you enjoy most and hopefully things will work out for you. So today we want to dive into this concept of a main purpose so we can learn how to effectively work with this in our own lives starting today. So where do we start? Well, I want to take you back to when you were born. Now, depending on your age, this might be a long time ago or not so long ago. But when you were born, when you made your great debut on planet Earth, it was to the joy of your parents, or at least, hopefully it was. That's the normal circumstances, right? It isn't always the case, but let's not go there. When you were born, you were a joy to your parents' sight. There you were, a marvelous son or daughter, a new life, with a whole future ahead of themselves, with all sorts of possibilities. What will become of this child when they're growing up is a fascinating idea for any parent. What happens to most people once they reach adulthood is the fact that because we're so taught to live according to traditional concepts of society, that most people miss the mark in life. Now, this might sound a little confronting or offensive, but it's not meant to be confronting or offensive in any way whatsoever. What I mean by this is that, yes, we can live a good life, we can have a job that pays us fairly well, but at the depths of our own being we might be totally unfulfilled. We might be totally out of whack with reality. We might sense that something is missing, that there's something we would love to do, but we're unable to do it. We feel held back. We just can't figure out this roadblock inside our minds. Now, if we go back to our childhood again, when you were born, once you're in that little crib, laying there, dreaming, crying, screaming for food, or whatever you did as a child, it doesn't really matter. Once you were laying there, you had this whole future ahead of yourself. Anything pretty much was possible for you. A child believes that anything is possible for them because they don't know any better. Here's the thing, as adults, we start to assume that we know better, but usually the things we're supposedly knowing better is holding us back, is causing limitations within our lives. Because as a child, you believe anything is possible. You had great dreams, perhaps. Dreams of things you really wanted to do. You felt somewhere within yourself that this is something you wanted to achieve, even though you didn't have the resources. You didn't have the money as a child. You didn't have all the connections you might need in order to achieve your dream. That didn't hold you back, did it? What happens? The parent comes along and might tell you, that's a great dream and all, but it's very difficult. It's probably not going to happen. It's better to focus on something more realistic, my son, my daughter. You got to be realistic. Well, what does it mean to be realistic? More often than not, it means to be stuck in current reality. which is the very thing that's going to hold you back if you want to expand and outgrow everything around you. The achievement of your dream, the achievement of living your purpose in life means you constantly need to be on the road of expansion and fuller expression. So the thing here that we want to grasp is that as adults, if we feel that we're stuck, if we haven't figured out our main purpose yet, then that is something that we can overcome by grasping why we were stuck in the first place. And why you are stuck right now, potentially, in the first place, is more often than not based on how you were raised. Now, do you have to go back into your past to figure this one out? No, not really. Do you have to erase the past from your mind? To a certain extent, yes. In fact, what you actually want to do is replace what you've been taught as a child, if it's not to your benefit, and then you start working with this concept of figuring out your purpose once and for all, right now. If you're an adult, right now, right here and now, figure it out. How are you going to figure it out? Well, let's get to the next step. How did I figure out my purpose? How do you figure out your purpose in life? Well, it's pretty interesting. If I go back into my own childhood, there were certain elements that I still do as an adult that tie into the purpose that I have now until the moment I die. That's how clear I am. I know exactly what I want to dedicate all my days on from this moment forward. I already knew it earlier in life, but let's pretend from this moment forward, I know exactly what I want to dedicate my time to. That is having a definite purpose for your own existence. How did I figure it out? Well, as I was growing up, I liked to write. I would write stories. I would like to tell stories. Yet I had no clue why or what that could mean for my future as an adult, but I just knew I liked doing it, so I kept doing it. Then in my adolescent years, throughout my teenage years as well, I figured out that, I like to create stuff. I like to be creative. I like to use my imagination. Funny enough, now that I'm older, I'm talking about this very power of imagination and how we can use it to improve our lives. But I was subconsciously working with it and working towards goals in my world. Again, that wasn't yet when I figured out my main purpose. When I looked back now, as an adult, my main purpose all along has been to tell stories. Either inspirational or just purely entertainment. That's how I see my life. The music that I make, the writings that I do, the coaching that I do, the videos that I make, it all falls into these two categories. So I've condensed my purpose into those categories, and then I build all sorts of activities around that purpose. Now this is something you want to start considering for yourself, is what do you really love to do? What is it in life that gives you fulfillment? There have been patterns throughout your entire life that you've always came back to. Now you might have some issue remembering those, perhaps, if you've been out of touch with your own, you could say, your own essence, because your purpose is part of your soul essence in life. Most people are totally out of touch with that, and therefore they have difficulty answering that question. What do I really love to do? I can't answer that, Ranil, not right now. And that's alright, but it's something you want to figure out. What do you love to do throughout your days? And now, here's the really funny and crazy part, is that every time we zoom in on that question, what do I really love to do? There's always this tendency, because of the way our society operates, that we are thinking that there's no point in focusing on it, because since we can't see how we could make a living or turn this into a lifestyle or whatever, there's no point in focusing on it, so we discard it instantly, almost instantly. So you see, everybody has the idea or the possibility to focus on what they want. And what you want is to live a fulfilled life and a life of purpose, where you know that all the years as you grow older and older have been spent doing what was meaningful to you as an individual on this planet. Now again, ask yourself the question, what do you really love to do? And what is holding you back from executing the very thing you love to do? Now there's all sorts of reasons you can come up with. And there are some cliche ones like, I don't have the money, so I can't do it. I don't have the connection, so I can't do it. We are all familiar with these two aspects, that when we have a goal, a purpose in life, it can hold us back. Again, the issue here is, It doesn't matter if you don't have the money or the connections. What matters is that you stay focused on your purpose in life, that is so clearly defined that it becomes sort of like a compass, like a driving force behind your very personality each and every day. That way you will find a way to get the money, to reach the people you need to reach in order to live your life the way you want it to live according to your own definite purpose. So this is how you figure it out. This is how I figured it out. I simply started to analyze what I love to do. And then I started to realize, all these steps throughout my life that I love to do have led me to this point where I'm at right now, teaching others about the power of their own consciousness. In your case, there's stuff happened throughout your life that will reveal to you your purpose in life. It will help you figure out what is your, how to put this, how should I put this? What is your unique role as an individual on planet Earth? Because we all have a unique role. Again, it might be similar to other people, but it's still unique. Because you are you and there's nobody else like you on the planet. That's why it's important to find your purpose and to make it very clearly and a definite purpose for you to execute throughout the days while you're on planet Earth. Now there's another issue we face, and that issue again goes back to our educational system. So let's go back to the past again. You were born, you were growing up, a few years into your life you already are put into a school system. Then you grow older and older. Once you reach your teenage years, well, that is when stuff gets really interesting, because that's usually the time when we're supposed to figure out, okay, where are we going to go with our lives? What am I going to do? What sort of degree should I get in order to get the career that I want? Well, this is where stuff gets really interesting and also kind of tragic, because this is in fact where most people get stuck and they never get out of it for the rest of their lives. And it's no joke, because then they're so trained to get this degree, to hopefully get this career that they think they want, that pays well hopefully, but then they realize later on perhaps that it wasn't in alignment with what they really feel like they would want on a soul level. But then they're so trained that to think that they need a degree in order to execute what they really want, that the rest of their days on earth they're never on purpose any longer. Now, let me just say, there's of course certain careers where you do need a degree. Like you wouldn't go to a surgeon or to a pilot or whatever and ask them to do something for you when they haven't been trained in the right way. For example, you don't want to ask me to perform surgery on you because I'm not a surgeon. I haven't been trained in that manner. So I would first have to get to a school and a degree and stuff like that to really understand what I'm doing. So with certain careers, it's true. But the thing here to remember is that even though we've been trained in a certain way to work against ourselves, we can hack our own minds. I like that term, hacking our own consciousness. What we're doing is we're going to remove that programming that is holding us back. We're going to really dissect our mind. We're going to tear it apart symbolically and then replace it with something else. And what are you going to replace it with? You're going to replace it with thoughts of yes, I can. Yes, I am able to. Yes, I'm willing to do what I need to do in order to get and go where I want to go with my life. And that is the fuel behind the purpose you set for yourself. That is the fuel that drives me, that keeps me going, to never give up. Determination. You have to be determined once you figure out what you want out of life. And then with that determination, you should never let anything sway you, no matter what the circumstances are like. No matter what other people say, do not let society or the world at large destroy your dreams any longer, because that is exactly what happened to the majority of people out there on the earth. And that is, again, in part due to our school system. Had we only been taught to figure out our purpose, but you know, it's easier to stay in the status quo, to keep just letting people get a degree and get a job, so everything stays pretty much similar. You know, the majority of people living their lives like everybody else, and then a handful of people doing extraordinary things, we could say. Those handful of people are living according to their own purpose. They're living according to the power of their own imagination. They dared to think for themselves. They dare to ask, what do I really want? What is my life going to be about? No matter how crazy or strange it is to those majority out there, I don't care. This is what I want. So that's exactly what I'm going for. This is exactly what I'm going to be focusing myself on, day in and out. And as you focus yourself on it, you got to understand your consciousness is a magnetic force. It's like a magnet, and it will keep attracting the ideas and inspirations you need in order to get closer and closer to the realization of your dream. And this is exactly what they failed to teach you and me in school. Now, what is the solution? This solution to figuring out your purpose in life. Maybe you've never figured it out. Maybe you feel too old. I know there's a few viewers out there of mine that are older than me, and it is true, some people out there, because of their age, they might think they're too young to do something, or they might even think they're too old already, so there's no point. It's better to just live a life until I finally die and then get it over with. That's no joke. There's some people out there that live like that. Again, it's kind of tragic. Now, here's the thing. It doesn't matter whether you're young or old. What matters is that you figure out what you still want for yourself and your life. Because ultimately, life is meant to be an enjoyment, a fulfilling journey. And as long as you hold yourself back due to physical things like age, well, then you'll never be free. You'll never be able to truly execute that free spirit that you are within your own consciousness. Because that is exactly the power that you hold within yourself. The ability to direct your own life according to how you want it. However, we've been fooled. We think everything outside of us will control us, will hold us back. It's supposed to hold us back. So we're not exercising our God-given power of consciousness to decide and figure out our own purpose in life and dedicate our time to it. So the solution to our problem here in figuring it out lies again in the question, what do you really love to do? No matter what your age is right now, young or old, I don't care. What do you love to do? What sort of activities do you enjoy doing? And as you figure that out, dedicate your time to it. That's all there is. Now, of course, you might be like, that sounds all nice and all, but I need to make a living. I need to make money, Ranil. I like to sit around. I like to do nothing at all. How can I make a living with that? Well, that's the thing, right? It's another one of those issues that we haven't been taught in school when growing up in general, is that money is a reward for service rendered. So if it's money that you want, well, you can do two things. Render more service in general, or think of how you can use your purpose and turn it into a form of service for humanity, and then watch what happens. Because that's exactly what I'm doing myself as a writer, coach, as a YouTuber. I constantly focus on how can I do this in such a way that it can also be something that is sustainable on a day-to-day basis in general. So I don't work with the intent of doing it all for free. Neither should you. You shouldn't be ashamed to ask for money if you provide service. So again, this ties into a whole different aspect altogether. This video is about figuring out your purpose and realizing that this is the main important part to remember throughout your life. Is that if you have a clearly defined purpose, we were born into a world full of chaos, but the person with a clear purpose in life can overcome that chaos, all that crazy jazz going on in the world and society all the time, all that agitation on the mind. But if you have a clearly defined purpose, like a laser focus, like a literal laser, you pierce right through the chaos and you keep yourself on track individually, and you stop caring about what the world is doing, because the world usually is in conflict all the time with each other. People are in conflict all the time. So what we need is a clearly defined purpose, so at least our individual lives are as fulfilling as they can possibly be, because there's a lot more possible to you. So what do you dream of doing? What are those great dreams in your consciousness that you would really love to achieve? What is holding you back? Have you figured out what your purpose is? Do you know what you want? And if you have figured all these things out, have you made a decision to focus on your purpose? Have you made a decision to make it a definite purpose for your own existence throughout the rest of your years on planet Earth? Because that is the sort of purpose that we need as an individual on this planet. That is what helps you lead towards your unique expression, your unique individual expression as a human being. Because again, we're all unique. And it's up to ourselves to figure out what that uniqueness is within ourselves. You see, we have to learn to focus within. We have to learn to focus our consciousness in such a way that we learn to discover that the results that we get in life are determined by the concepts we hold inside our mind. And with that being said, do not underestimate that your main purpose is part of that mental focus that will set you free. And now for the final part of this video, I wanted to share with you a piece of text that I stumbled upon by a man named Jonathan Starr. And it's a very interesting piece of text because it will help you understand perhaps the ultimate purpose of existence itself. Because now we're talking about a purpose that we want to figure out for ourselves while we're going through this life experience. But this great ultimate purpose of all of creation itself, you could say, sort of is hinting at this piece of text that I stumbled upon that I wanted to share with you right now. Jonathan wrote, "If we don't know who we are, if we have no clear sense of our true magnificence and our integral relationship to spirit, if we are coming from a place of lack, from a place where our understanding of self is based upon the predominance of race conditioning, and where we believe that attracting certain things will bring us the happiness we seek, then ultimately the only thing we can attract is that which supports our partial and distorted notion of self. What we will attract is more lack, because our fundamental belief about ourselves is that something is lacking, and that we must use the law of attraction to try and fill this lack. The deep sense of a lack attracts more lack. Ignorance attracts more ignorance. Quite frankly, if we do not understand that the fundamental fullness of our own nature, well, if we don't understand that, then you will naturally seek to attract things outside yourself in an attempt to gain the happiness, the joy, a love, a beauty, that which is inherent to our own nature, which we feel is missing." What he's essentially saying here is something I've been preaching all the time myself, is that everything you want exists within yourself. Therefore, it shouldn't be a difficult thing to figure out your purpose. But the issue is we've been trained to focus so much on, again, race conditioning, you could say, how society works, that we have no clue on how to actually focus on an individual basis on what we want. Because we're so trained to just go along with the crowd. But you see, if you go along with the crowd, you'll be unable to execute and express your own unique individual role as an individual. You gotta figure this one out for yourself, it's true. But you have people like me and others out there trying to remind you that you're capable of doing it. It doesn't matter what you want. You know, even if you pass on right now, if your body were to drop, you know, you might not believe me, but your consciousness will go on and you'll still be able to achieve whatever you want. That's the issue, is we're so hypnotized by the outside world that even in the realms of the so-called afterlife, we'd still be hypnotized by what we're observing. Just like in dreams, you're always hypnotized by what you're seeing outside of yourself instead of directing your own existence from within. That is what we're called upon to do. And having a clear major purpose, a definite purpose for your life, is one of the first and most important steps throughout your physical existence right here and now that will help you discover this power that resides within you. The power that will show you that everything starts inside and also exists inside. Because if it started inside, anything that is invented started within the imagination, which resides within consciousness, well then anything you want, it starts inside and therefore in some way existed within your very self all along. And once you grasp that, it shouldn't be difficult for you to figure out your purpose, because you're basically piercing right through all those limiting ideas society has taught you. You become a human, a true human being, the way they were meant to exist and function in this world. You pierce those limiting ideas. You hack your mind wide open. You throw out the garbage programming and you implant new, better ideas into your consciousness through videos like this, through other people's videos, through books, through seminars, through coaching, whatever. Do whatever you need to do in order to figure out your main purpose in life. Don't let the world hold you back any longer, because that is exactly what happened to the majority of people out there. So there you go. The importance of having a definite purpose in life. Again, all you have to figure out for yourself is what do you love to do? What are you passionate about? And once you figure that out, like I did, try to condense that purpose into a single line, into perhaps a few words. For me, it's like inspirational and the word entertainment, because both of them mean that I have to use my mind in a certain way, in a way that I'm passionate about and that I enjoy living my life and working and helping other peoples and serving other people, peoples, right? That's what you want to figure out for yourself. What do you enjoy doing? And then simply decide that you'll dedicate your life to it and figure out ways on how you can serve humanity with that purpose. Because you can do that. Stop believing in that old idea that you can't make a living doing what you love to do, because that's nonsense. It's meant to hold you back, keep you stuck in the way society has worked for maybe hundreds of years in general. But you're much more powerful than that, and you're capable of much more than that. So keep that in mind. Anyways, with that being said, never forget, dear viewer, that we are the dreamers.